Hi, and welcome to February's edition of For Pet's Sake. I'm your host, Laura Montenegro. Unfortunately, today with a bit of a cold, but we're going to suffer through it so we can bring you a great show this month. We're going to showcase some of our adoptable animals, including Gracie. We're going to talk about pet care, and in our pet care segment, we'll be discussing spay and neuter. We'll also talk about our upcoming events. We have a lot scheduled in the spring, so something to look forward to when the warmer weather comes. And our featured segment, you're really going to enjoy. We're going to talk to an adopter about her experience and the love that she found with her pet. All that and more coming up on this month's edition of For Pet's Sake, so stay tuned. To talk about our pet care segment today, which is why it's important to spay or neuter your pet. And Danielle's going to help us as well, of course. Hi, Danielle.
Hello.
So I know people know that it's the right thing to do to spay or neuter your pet unless you're a certified breeder, but there's more complications than that. So I just wanted to talk quickly about, why it's so important and what can happen to your animal if they're not spayed or neutered.
Sure. A lot of people know spaying or neutering is obviously important for population control. We get so many animals into the shelter because animals are not spayed or neutered, but it's also important for health. Spaying and neutering, if you don't alter your animal, some animals are actually more prone to things such as cancer as they get older, so it certainly has health benefits, and that's across all species, so not just dogs, but also cats, even rabbits. Definitely can help them out there. It's also important for personality. One of the things we hear is, my dog's always wandering, taking off, he's out of control and crazy. A lot of that's because he's not neutered yet. All those extra hormones racing through your body, you remember when you were a teenager, neutering and spaying definitely can help that and actually calms your dog down, calms your cat down, can make them a much better family companion. Hi, sweetheart.
And for those critics out there that say, my dog's so pretty. My dog looks like Kiri, and I want to breed this dog because I want to make a couple extra dollars because, she's so beautiful and she'll make beautiful puppies. Yep. What do you say to them? Because we do see the people, we have many dogs in here that come from that were bred that are from non-professional breeders.
Yep. One of the things we tell people is, dogs can look pretty on the outside. That doesn't mean genetically that they're okay. So one of the things to always consider when you're breeding an animal is that animal benefiting the breed? Is it to breed standard? Is it healthy? If it's going to be prone to any specific medical conditions, so say you have an animal with an eye disease or hip dysplasia, that's going to get passed on down to all those puppies and is actually going to cause further pain and medical issues going forward. So certainly if you're breeding, you really need to consider the health of your animal. Vet checks are very important to make sure you're breeding it with another responsible animal who has that same level of standard. The other thing to know is breeding animals is quite costly. Most of the breeders out there will tell you they're really not making too much money because it costs so much to do it well. Not only is weekly medical care important once the puppies are born, but also socialization is very, very key. So for the first weeks of that animal's life, while that animal is being nursed and weaned, you have to slowly expose it to different things and make sure you're being socially responsible so that you don't end up with a dog who becomes dog aggressive because he's never been exposed to other dogs, or animals who are very fearful who have never been out of a house before. So there's a lot of responsibility involved in breeding.
So bottom line, leave the breeding to the breeders, I think, and thank you, Danielle.
Oh, you're welcome.
Who can forget Valentine's Day in February? It's a fun holiday, but not for animals. Keep the chocolate and the flowers away from your pets. We thank you.
Here at the Animal Rescue League, we see lots of dogs that people generally call pit bulls. Pit bulls is something that they could be a wide variety of dogs. The breed has been so overbred and mixed with other breeds that a lot of times they have totally different ancestry, but they have the same kind of stature and blocky head. So normally we call them terrier mixes because, to be honest, without doing a DNA panel, we're not fully 100% sure what's in them anymore. Right now, like always, we do have several of what we call terrier mixes at our shelter, and that's common across pretty much every shelter that you'll go to. It's a very common breed, especially in New Hampshire. They tend to be very strong, high energy dogs, so they're typically looking for active families, ones where they can kind of run around and play, go for hikes. We have a wide variety, typically all requiring different things of what they're looking for in a home. Right now, for whatever reason, we do have several that want to be the only dog. So if you don't have a pet at home currently but are looking to add to your family, this would be great for you to take on. We have a mixture. We have some that are already well trained with obedience skills and house training, and we have others that are kind of young adolescents that are still learning their skills. With me today, I have one example of the many dogs in our shelter, and his name is Conrad. Conrad was surrendered to us for kind of being a jumpy, melody, high-energy boy. Once Conrad arrived here, we actually learned that he has some vision issues. So he's not fully blind, but he can actually see on his periphery. So things approaching him from behind or left and right are sometimes startling to him. Because of that, he often would get kind of jumpy and startled. Now that we've learned what his thing is, we learn just to approach from the front or to talk to him as we're coming up so that he knows that we're coming. He's a very, very nice dog. He is playful. When things are thrown right in front of him, he can see them. He can hear okay, although sometimes he's a bit stubborn, and if he wants to play and not come inside, he chooses to stay out and hang out for a little while longer. He's still a strong boy, so we are working on teaching him kind of some leash manners, but you can see he's not pulling me down in here. He's just kind of checking out his boundaries and seeing what's going on around him. Conrad loves to go for walks, but one thing we found, because he can't see as well, sometimes things can be startling to him. So people coming from around corners or dogs from across the way that are walking, when he can't quite tell what they are, sometimes that can be a bit much. So certainly new owners would want to be prepared for slow introductions to new things. When he first arrived here, Conrad kind of bumped into the walls and kind of ran into things. All it took was a day, and then he knew his boundaries, and he hasn't done it since. So I would expect the same thing in a new home as well, as he kind of learns his new territory and what the boundaries are. From there, though, you're going to have a very loving, happy, playful dog. Hi, handsome. He does know some basic skills. One of the things with vision dogs is you're going to want to use treats that are very scented, even something like hot dogs, because he's going to smell it faster than he can see it. And then you can kind of lure him into sits and downs and work on your training from there as you're teaching him new skills. Like I said, we do have many dogs of Conrad's blocky head and stature, a variety of colors, shapes, and sizes. So certainly if you are looking for one of our terrier mixes, come on down to the shelter and we can show you what we've got. Hi, handsome. Oh, was that yummy? Was that yummy? I know you like cheese. I know you like cheese. Good sit. Good sit.
This is Gracie. As you can see, she's very beautiful. She's a 9-year-old Persian cat. She came to us last year from a hoarding case. Now, if you receive our e-newsletters, and you can sign up online at our website, www.rescueleague.org. You probably got a newsletter about the Persians. There were 6 of them, and they came from a pretty bad situation. They all had to be shaved at the time of arrival because they were so badly matted, their fur. So Gracie was one of those. She was very lucky. She was adopted into a loving home, but the woman recently had a stroke, unfortunately, and so Gracie had to be returned to the shelter. She is currently up for adoption. We encourage you to go to our website to see our adoptable animals, because at the time of taping, she might not be adopted when you watch the show. So go to www.rescueleague.org to give a cat like Gracie a home.
So here at the Animal Rescue League, we see lots of rabbits. Usually we adopt somewhere around 70 rabbits out a year, so it's definitely something we're always trying to find new adopters and new families for. We usually have a wide variety at our shelter. It's actually the third most surrendered pet after dogs and cats, of course. Bunnies can make great house pets. Here at the shelter, we actually have them set up in large pens and all their needs are taken care of right in there. And that's certainly something when you come in, we can kind of show you exactly what they need and how to best care for them. Right now, we have 8 rabbits in our care. Our small animal area actually can't accommodate that many. So unfortunately, we do have rabbits who are stuck living in other rooms just waiting for a space to come up so they can see the public. So certainly as soon as somebody gets adopted, a new rabbit will be right in their place. We also actually have a wait list of rabbits waiting to come in. So we have families that can no longer care for their bunnies that are hoping we do some great adoptions so their bunnies can come in. So certainly if you are looking to adopt, now is definitely the time because we've got a great selection to choose from. Rabbits come in all shapes and sizes, just like other animals. So when you come, you'll definitely see some smaller bunnies all the way up to some that are even bigger than your cats. We do have 1 pair of rabbits available, otherwise the rest are in singles, so depending on how many you're looking to take home. Currently, all of our rabbits are spayed or neutered. This is something that is very beneficial for this species, especially when it's done young. It can help prevent a form of cancer that bunnies can be prone to, and they actually tend to live much longer, healthier lives. Oftentimes, it can also be helpful with litter box training. A lot of people don't know that bunnies can be litter box trained, and that's why they make ideal house pets, because once you've trained them to do that, they can actually have exercise time outside of the cage, hop around, and come and see you. So if you are looking to add a bunny to your home or just want to stop by and see what we have and learn a little bit more about rabbit care, definitely come on down to the shelter. We can't wait to see you. We wanted to introduce you to 4 cats that came in together, and we may not get to see all 4 today because they're definitely a little bit shyer. All 4 cats are black. The only difference is 2 of them have short little legs, which is one of the ones you're looking at right now. That one right there is short stack. And 2 of them have long legs. They're all from the same household. And they're probably looking to go home in pairs unless some very nice person wants to take home all 4. Right now these guys are living in our kitten castle, which is kind of a large enclosure that's separate from the rest of the animals. The reason for that is they're very shy of people. And that's one of the reasons we're filming outside the room instead of handling them in front of you like we normally do. What you'll see right now, how they're kind of exploring a little bit, eating, checking things out. When we open the door and walk right in, unfortunately they all dive for cover because they're still getting used to human contact. What we're doing right now is we have special volunteers who work with our behavioral cats, and they actually go in and sit and read to them and talk to them, spray some catnip, and just kind of sit there and overall be calm. We don't actually try to touch them while we're doing this. We just get them used to calm human presence and let them come out and check us out on their own. And this gives them a chance to explore and have it be on their terms, which is very important in the cat world. They always want to feel like they're in charge. You can see that they definitely love each other. All these cats would be great if you already had cats in the home. They could certainly get along with your resident felines. They are looking for a home that's not expecting super social, let me hold you lovable cats right off the bat. They are animals that could take months before they're fully adjusted to you. So initially what you may see is the food dish is empty and toys have moved, but you might not quite know where they are. As they start to learn your routines and trust your presence, you'll start to see they're willing to come out and move around when you're in front. One of the things we often do here is they're actually in a space where they can see people in the lobby. And that's where we are right now. They know we're out here, they've seen us, but they're still comfortable enough to know that we're not right in their space. So they're comfortable enough to move around and check things out. When you first come to visit room, that's actually what we'd recommend. We'd have you start out here and just kind of let them get used to your presence from outside the glass. Then we'd have you go in and sit with them. The first few times you visit, you may see that they don't come out for you, and as they get comfortable with your presence, they're coming out further. Again, that's Short Stack who's moving around right now. You can see he has kind of a lower carriage than his siblings. So he just has kind of munchkin legs is what they're called. And 2 of the litter had that, and then 2 had the normal legs. The legs don't hinder them at all. They can still get around okay. They can still jump and run and play. So that's certainly something you wouldn't have to worry about. And if anything, it's kind of a little something extra special that these guys have. So if you're looking for some cats that truly need rescuing and a second chance at life, if you have a very quiet, calm, patient home and a lot of love to give, definitely come in and check these guys out. Again, their names are Short Stack, Jenkins, Spike, and Fluttershy, and we'll be happy to introduce them to you.
And now I'm very happy to present our special feature for this month's edition of For Pet's Sake. One of our adopters has graciously offered to be on camera and talk about her adopting experience. Enjoy.
Well, I like to play with him, and he likes to play tag with me because he runs and jumps on me, and then he runs back off. And then I chase him, and then I tag him, then he runs back after me. Oh. I like that he's nice and fuzzy.
His fur is really soft. He's very friendly. He sleeps on the bed with me. The one lady that works here, she was, I told her my concern, especially with Nicholas, because of him being so active and loud. You know, the house is very loud. Yeah. Not all animals like a loud house. But yeah, when she brought us into, both times they came, they had no problem. They put us in the room with just him, and the lady that worked here was really patient with us. And like when we came in, we told them exactly what we were looking for, and I was up front and I said that, you know, it has to be a cat that can stand a loud household. You know, we're not a quiet home. There's gonna be a lot of going on.
Running around.
And so they took that in consideration, and they, you know, picked the cat that they thought would be suited for our family and showed us to him. Okay. Yeah. Well, I had a cat for 19 years and she passed, and then we went back and forth, do we want to get another animal, and then we got a hamster. And then finally we just started looking for a cat. And we would come in, and then I came in 3 different times, and I brought the kids twice, and they put them in a room with us to see how he would do with the kids. And he just seemed like a good fit, so we took him home.
Oh, nice.
He's great.
Is there any way that you knew he was the one?
Yeah, because he got along with my son. My son was 2 at the time, and he has sensory issues. So when they brought him into the room with us, they brought this like big play tunnel.
Yeah.
And Nicholas was looking in one side, and the cat came down and looked in the other side. And it was like it was almost like the cat was also a toddler too, and they were playing together. Oh, and the cat didn't try to run off. He wasn't scared of all the noise. And then the one day I came back alone while she was at a birthday party to meet him, and he was just as nice as he was the other time. And then I came back another time with them again to see if he would react the same way. And he came up right to the window when we came up, and then when I went in, he came down off the spiral right to me. And then that's when I knew we were going to bring him home. And we brought him home that night.
Oh, fantastic.
And that was in May. Bye.
Bye.
So I wanted to introduce you to a few of our other dogs right now, Danny and Bailey. These dogs came from a situation where there were too many animals in the home, and they were looking to surrender some. Danny is the one who is being very pushy right now and climbing in my lap. Oftentimes when there's too many animals in the home, you'll find there's very different personalities. Danny is an example of a dog who's a little bit more confident, a little more pushy. You can see he's hopping right down and kind of shoving his sister right out of the way to get the cheese. Very rude, by the way, whereas Bailey's a little more gentle and allows him to kind of push her around. Bailey is a dog that when Danny is not around is very, very shy. She's actually flattened to the ground, not moving, afraid to do anything. Takes a while for her to even come forward and kind of lick cheese from your hand. Hi, bud. So one of the things that we work on with dogs like this is teaching them that it's okay to come forward to people. What you see right here is not what we saw on day one. We had to work up to getting this level of trust with them. It's not something that was instinctual. And it started with something as simple as this. We literally opened their door, just sat on the floor. Initially it's just talking to them, maybe reading to them, and just kind of throwing treats in their direction. Oftentimes once dogs learn that, wow, you've got really yummy food over there, you'll see that they start to approach, and now to the point where Danny's actually kind of begging for the food and coming right forward for it. When people first come to visit these dogs are going to bark at them and run in the other direction. So who's ever going to end up adopting them will probably have to visit several times, sit in a pen much like this, and basically do what we did. Sit on the ground, talk to them, offer them food, offer them treats, and let them get comfortable with your presence. Dogs like this are usually slow to adjust to a new home, so it's certainly something to be prepared for when you first get home. They're not going to be comfortable with strangers. They're not going to be comfortable coming right up to you. Even approaching them to get a leash on to go for a walk may be difficult at first. So it's going to require kind of a really patient home, one that's really willing to take their time and go slow with these dogs. These two in particular would do best together, more for Bailey's sake than Danny's. Danny, again, is a bit more confident and kind of takes over, and if anything, he's a bit pushier on Bailey than I would like, but she's more comfortable when he's around. So it's certainly something, in order to help her adjust, we kind of put up with his pushiness a little bit. Once the dogs start getting comfortable in their new home, that's when you're going to start working on actual manners, obedience skills, kind of teaching them the rules of the house. But initially it's going to be all about building trust, and teaching them that, hey, it's okay to approach, that nothing bad is going to happen to you, that you don't have to worry about anything. And then you can kind of start working from there. So if you are looking for a little more of a project dog, these two would certainly be an option. They would do best in a calmer home, quiet environment. Young kids would not be a good plan for them. Certainly they have lived with other pets before, so if you already have a dog in your household, they certainly could be considered. Just keep in mind that they would have to put up with this little personality right here. Bailey, again, is much more shy and kind of willing to let anyone else who's around rule the roost, so she wouldn't cause too much trouble at all. Hi guys. Hello. Right now you're going to be meeting Roger. He's one of the smallest animals that we have available for adoption right now. Roger is one of our mice. We actually have mice at the shelter almost all the time. They have one of the longest lengths of stays. Many of the mice that we have right now have been with us for over 100 days, which is really sad for a little mouse. Certainly they'd much rather be in a home and have a family to take care of them and play with them each day. Every day when we do clean them, our mice actually go into a little exercise ball, and that's what you're going to see Roger in right now. What it is, it's just a little plastic ball that you put them in. It's completely safe, and you can see it gives them a chance to kind of run around and explore new territory without you worrying about losing them in your home. So each day all of our mice get to go out and get a little exercise and kind of run around our lobby and check things out. Sometimes you'll see that they run into walls. That doesn't hurt them at all. The plastic's a nice material that bounces right off, and they go running right down the other side. Mice are an animal that's very easy to take care of. So if you find that a cat or a dog is a little more care than you're looking for, a mouse is a great pet to begin with. Typically they live in small tanks, little aquariums. You put some shavings or bedding in there, a little house for them to hide in, some food, water bottle, and definitely an exercise wheel. Right now we are giving away a free exercise wheel with all our mice adoptions. That's something you can start out with right away. Exercise is very important for a mouse. You'll notice a lot of the ones at the shelter, because they're not in homes and families and getting handled in the day, they're actually getting a little bit chubby. So definitely getting out for daily exercise and having that wheel to run on, and certainly monitoring food, is very important. Mice can live to be about 2 years, so that's certainly something you want to take in consideration when you come. We do have a wide variety of mice right now at varying ages, so if you're looking for one a little younger, a little older, we certainly have that. Mice are very smart animals. They're certainly easily trained, especially with food. So you can kind of hand tame them and teach them to come up to you. when you want to play around with them. When I was a kid, we actually used to make little mazes and leave treats at different spots and the mice would run around. Certainly anytime they are outside of their cage, you want to make sure they're supervised. Obviously they're tiny creatures and you want to make sure they don't get lost in your home because they are very difficult to find. They are definitely explorers and are willing to check out any nook and cranny. There's lots of things in your home that you can use as little toys. Paper towel rolls are a great one. They'll climb in them, run around in them, they'll shred them and make them for beds. Tissue paper boxes are great fun, any kind of wood chews. A lot of people like to make kind of tunnels and ramps and shells and kind of give their mouse a little jungle gym to play with to kind of keep them occupied. The nice thing about using an exercise ball to run around is it makes your mouse very easy to catch. These are something that are very simple to use. The top just kind of twists and turns, and then you can kind of handle your mouse from there and kind of bring them right out. So if you are interested in adding a smaller critter to your home, definitely come and ask us about some of our mice. Hi, handsome. I wanted to introduce you to our actual longest term resident in the shelter right now as far as cats. She's had many names while she's been here. They kind of keep changing. Initially she was called Coas and then Mama Kitty, and most recently her name became Mrs. Claus, although I think we're a little past that time and need to switch back to one of her former ones. She's a very, very sweet girl. She does enjoy being pet and she will solicit attention from you. Oftentimes when we first come in the morning, she comes running right up to the door to greet you, gives a little meow and raises her paw, and I think she's coming to say hi, although others tell me she really just wants her breakfast. We'll go with I think she just wants my attention. You can see she's a little bit on the plump side. Part of that is from being at the shelter too long. Unfortunately, when cats stay at the shelter long term, they're not getting as much exercise as they would moving about a typical home. So sometimes they tend to hold on to a few extra pounds. So certainly we could recommend a little bit of a diet when she first went home, certainly measuring how much she was eating and maybe cutting back on the treats just a little bit. Mama would probably prefer a home that's a little bit calmer and quieter, maybe teenagers or adults, but no really young toddlers or babies. That's actually why she came here to begin with, as she wasn't a fan of the youngest kid kind of crawling around and bothering her. Certainly a nice soft plush bed would be a fan, and clearly you can see it doesn't matter how large it is to accommodate her. She's happy to curl up on whatever she finds. She does have a cat tree in her room here, and she's often found on that, particularly midday when she's kind of taking her afternoon nap. Mama is a very sweet girl. Again, if you're just looking for kind of a quiet companion, someone to sit next to you on the couch or sleep with you at night, she would be a really great kitty for you. So definitely come and ask for her. And again, she may have a new name. Could be Mrs. Claus, Mama Kitty, Coas. You never know what you may find. But definitely whoever takes her home, you're going to want to give her that permanent name, because she's going to be your forever kitty and you're never going to want to give her up.
That's going to do it for this month's edition of For Pet's Sake. We hope you enjoyed the show and you learned a little bit about spay and neuter and our adoptable animals here at the shelter. For the most up-to-date information about the ARL, we encourage you to like our Facebook page. You can like both the Animal Rescue League of New Hampshire Facebook page, and For Pet's Sake has its own Facebook page. So make sure to like that for your opportunity. Maybe one day you could be on For Pet's Sake. From all of us here at the Animal Rescue League, thanks and have a great day. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
It's like something out of a dream, the way that you came to me, lost and alone, all on your own. relaxed and retreating.